Welcome to From Signal to Sensation, the neurocognition of emotion. This video is for behavioral health psychotherapists, clinical psychologists, neurofeedback specialists, and psychiatrists. Our goal is to provide a neurobiological understanding of how an emotional signal is activated in the brain, offering a scientific basis for therapeutic interventions aimed at emotion regulation. Have you ever wondered what truly happens in the brain during those split-second, intense emotional reactions? It's not just a feeling, it's a complex, rapid-fire neurocognitive process. Imagine a person jumping back in fear from a snake on a trail. What precisely transpires in the brain during that immediate, involuntary response? This video will delve into that very question. Our purpose today is to move beyond the idea that emotions are merely feelings. We will explore how they are profoundly shaped by intricate brain activity. Understanding this neural circuitry offers therapists a deeper level of insight into a client's emotional dysregulation, empowering you to approach interventions with greater precision and effectiveness. To understand the journey of an emotional signal, we first need to identify the key brain structures involved. We often refer to the limbic system as the, quote, emotional brain. But it's crucial to understand that emotion involves a much more widespread and interconnected network within the brain. The limbic system is a set of brain structures located on both sides of the thalamus, immediately beneath the cerebrum. While often called the emotional brain, it's vital to remember that emotions are a result of a broader neural network. First, let's talk about the amygdala. Often referred to as the brain's emotional sentinel or threat detector, its primary role is to rapidly assess the emotional significance of a stimulus, particularly for fear and threat. This rapid assessment is crucial for initiating the, quote, fight or flight response, allowing for immediate, survival-based reactions. Next, we have the thalamus, which can be characterized as the brain's sensory switchboard or relay station. All sensory information, whether it's sight, sound, touch, taste, or smell, first passes through the thalamus. It acts as a central hub, directing these sensory inputs to the appropriate processing areas in the brain. Finally, let's consider the prefrontal cortex. This region is often described as the brain's wise elder or regulator. It's the center for higher-level cognitive functions such as planning, decision-making, working memory, and, critically, emotional regulation. The prefrontal cortex plays a vital role in moderating and contextualizing the amygdala's initial, raw, emotional signals, allowing for a more reasoned and adaptive response. Now that we've identified the key players, let's explore how an emotional stimulus actually travels through these structures. A single emotional stimulus, surprisingly, travels through two distinct neural pathways simultaneously, often referred to as the, quote, two-pathway model of emotion. First, there's the low road, the fast and unfiltered pathway. This is the express lane for emotional information, directly from the thalamus to the amygdala. It's incredibly fast and automatic, allowing for an immediate, survival-based reaction before conscious awareness. Clinically, this pathway is responsible for clients' immediate, often overwhelming emotional reactions, like a sudden panic attack triggered by a sound that they cannot rationally explain. Then there's the high road, the slower and more thoughtful pathway. This is the scenic route, thalamus to sensory cortex, then to the hippocampus, followed by the prefrontal cortex, and finally to the amygdala. Information is processed in the sensory cortex, contextualized by the hippocampus, memory, and evaluated by the prefrontal cortex. This allows for a more nuanced and thoughtful response. Clinically, this pathway is what allows for emotion regulation. It's how a client can pause, recognize their feeling, and choose a different, more adaptive response. Neurocognition refers to the brain's cognitive processes, such as attention, memory, and executive function, and their relationship to specific neural structures. This is where the brain interprets and actively shapes the emotional signal. The prefrontal cortex engages in, quote, top-down regulation, sending inhibitory signals narrows down to the amygdala to calm its response. This is the core mechanism of cognitive reappraisal. Furthermore, the hippocampus, through memory and context, plays a critical role. A traumatic memory stored here can hypersensitize the amygdala, leading to an over-the-top emotional reaction to a non-threatening stimulus. Lastly, attention and cognitive biases, such as hypervigilance for threats, can alter the prefrontal cortex's regulation, keeping the, quote, emotional alarm on high alert. Understanding this neurocognitive framework offers powerful insights for therapeutic interventions. Let's explore how this knowledge can be applied in your practice. A key application is to normalize the two roads model for your clients. By explaining that their intense, sometimes irrational feelings have a biological basis, you help clients understand that their reactions are not personal failings, but rather the result of rapid brain processes. This psychoeducation can be incredibly validating and destigmatizing. When targeting the high road, consider how various therapeutic modalities strengthen the prefrontal cortex's ability to regulate the amygdala. CBT and DBT, for instance, are essentially training the high road through techniques like cognitive restructuring, emotion regulation skills, and distress tolerance. Mindfulness practices also create a crucial space between the emotional signal and the automatic response, allowing the high road to activate. For trauma-informed care, it's vital to understand how trauma can create a stuck amygdala, explaining why a purely cognitive approach might not be sufficient and why bottom-up approaches are often necessary. In summary, emotional signals are activated through both fast and slow neural pathways, and neurocognitive processes are the brain's sophisticated way of interpreting, contextualizing, and regulating that signal. We encourage you to integrate this neurobiological perspective into your work, empowering clients to understand their own brains and participate more effectively in their own healing journeys. We are not slaves to our emotions. We have the power to reshape the neural pathways that create them. For further learning, consider additional training on the neurobiology of emotion. Thank you.